Welcome, everyone. This is the third webinar in our Energy Stewardship webinar series. Most of these webinars spotlight the story of one congregation that put their faith into action by reducing energy waste in their building. But tonight we're doing something a little bit different. We're going to drill down into how to access the discounts and rebates that Consumers Energy offers. As of earlier this year in 2021, Michigan Interfaith Power and Light has signed up over 1,000 Michigan congregations to receive free energy assessments and hundreds of thousands of dollars worth of free energy efficiency upgrades from Consumers Energy. And I suspect many of the congregations that you belong to are among them. And our goal with this Energy Stewards webinar series is to inspire and equip those congregations and beyond to take the next steps in their energy stewardship journey. Trying to advance my slide here. Sorry, maybe I need to. There we go. All right, so my name is Leah Wisty. I am the Executive Director of Michigan Interfaith Power and Light. I'm also joined here by my colleague, Jennifer Young, who is the Energy Programs Manager. She is going to be managing the chat, and she's going to introduce herself later on in the program. Thanks to everybody for joining us. And just so we have a sense of who all is in the room, I see another person just joined. If you wouldn't mind just opening up the chat, and that is, if you see the black bar at the bottom of your Zoom window, you'll see the chat button somewhere there in the middle. If you wouldn't mind typing into the chat the name of your congregation, your city, and the role you have within that congregation. I also just want to point out that button on the left is the mute button. We are asking folks to stay on mute when they're not talking, but when we get to Q&A, by all means, feel free to unmute yourself so that you can ask questions, participate in the discussion. And we've got the pastor of First Presbyterian Church in Dimondale. I know we've got a few more folks in the room, so welcome and thanks for sharing your name, which congregation you're with, its location, and your role there in the chat. All right, this is our agenda for tonight. I've already welcomed you. I'm going to talk for just a moment about who we are as Michigan Interfaith Power and Light and why we focus on energy of all things. We've got a quick poll just to learn a little bit more about where you are on this journey, saving energy. And then we're going to get into the main part of tonight's webinar, and that is, I'll hand it over to Mike Olsen, who is an energy advisor with Consumers Energy's Business Energy Efficiency Program. Time for Q&A. And then we want to lay out a couple of next steps that you can take and then share with you about the next webinar in the series. We're going to wrap it all up by 8 p.m. Logistically, you will receive the slides and the recording by email, and you feel free to ask questions at any time during, using the chat, or during the Q&A, you can unmute yourself. In case this is your first encounter with us, kind of in a virtual face-to-face format, or you don't know much about us, Michigan Interfaith Power and Light's mission is to inspire and equip people of faith and people of conscience to exercise stewardship of and love for all creation. And we focus on energy, but why? We work with folks from all kinds of religious traditions. And these religious traditions believe, for example, that God is present in all things. They command their followers to repair the world. They value loving your neighbor, especially the most vulnerable. And as we know, our use of fossil fuels is pushing us towards climate collapse. And so if we want to live the value of loving our neighbor, especially the most vulnerable, if we believe that God is present in all things, it's imperative for us to become more energy efficient and transition to clean energy. And for those of you in congregations where maybe caring for Earth is not at the core of your mission, you should still focus on energy, because if your building is old and inefficient, that just means higher energy costs. And so you've got the choice of if you want to continue to spend a lot of money on energy, or if you want to put more resources into your vital mission, helping neighbors in need in whatever way that is, right? And so we're here today to talk about how you can spend less on energy and more on mission. A quick poll. All right, I'm going to pull it up on the screen. The question is, have you or has your congregation ever applied for rebates from your utility? Trying to get a sense of if you have experience with this process, if not. And the results are coming in. Okay, I'm going to share the results. Okay, so a couple of folks in the room have, some have not. Okay, so and also I should mention too that these rebates, you can apply for them on an ongoing basis, right? It's on a per project basis. So even if you have already gotten rebates in the past, you are still eligible for more. Okay, and without further ado, I will then turn it over to Mike Olsen, who is an energy advisor for the Consumers Energy Business Energy Efficiency Programs. And by the way, that applies to folks in congregations. We don't think of ourselves as businesses, right, because we're nonprofits, but it does apply to you because you have a commercial building. Mike has 10 years of industry experience working in energy efficiency, and he's worked with Michigan IPL for the last 5 years on the free Light the Way program that many of you have participated in, and he lives in the Lansing area. So I'm going to stop my screen share and turn it over to Mike. Thanks so much.
Thank you, Leah. Thank you for having me here. It's a pleasure to be here, just to be a part of this program and light the way and assist congregations with their energy efficiency upgrades. So I'm going to go ahead and just dive right into my presentation here. And so just bear with me. So please let me know when you can see my screen.
We can see it.
Okay. Let me see here. I can find a way to move this over here. All right, so basically the purpose of this presentation is to just give you a good overview of our program, programs and offerings. So we don't necessarily have, one size fits all approach. And so we're going to kind of touch on some of the different offerings and a little bit more focus too in the middle on actually how to apply for rebates, just so you get an idea how to do that. So winning with energy efficiency for houses of worship, those are going to include things like lowering your energy bills, cash incentives or rebates for being energy efficient, reduced upfront project costs, lower overall maintenance costs, short, simple payback, and they can also increase employee congregation comfort, aesthetics, and promote a successful work environment. So this next slide here just kind of shows you some of the non-energy impacts that energy efficiency upgrades can have with your congregation. And so this little diagram just kind of breaks it down. Again, typical house of worship building, and the little arrows kind of point to those non-energy impacts. So, they're going to include things like reduced maintenance costs, improved air quality, for maybe HVAC upgrades, things like that, increase operational productivity, safer parking lots, illuminating the exterior of your building a little bit better at night. And then lastly, a more comfortable congregational environment. So your members will hopefully be a little bit happier if the lights are brighter and that sort of thing. Energy efficiency tips. So just a few tips here, things like unplug your devices or use smart strips. So devices that continue to draw power when they appear to be turned off can actually cost up to $200 a year in wasted energy. And you can fight this by regularly unplugging your devices or let a smart power strip do the work for you. And we do offer smart power strips as part of our free direct install program, which you would be eligible for by signing up for the Light the Way program. Check your thermostat. So checking your thermostat and ensuring it's set to go down for heating and up for air conditioning when your building is unoccupied can also help save hundreds of dollars each year. Although your building may be slightly different and unique, the recommended temperature setting during the heating season is between 68 and 70 degrees when occupied, and then during the cooling season, around 74 to 75 degrees. We also recommend that at least a 5-degree temperature adjustment occur during unoccupied times when your facility is closed. And then lastly here, just minimize water use. And that's going to be more on the hot water side of things. So minimizing hot water use can also add up to big savings. Installing low flow aerators and or shower heads, ensuring hot water pipes are insulated, only using hot water when necessary, repairing leaky faucets, and turning your hot water heater down to 120 degrees if allowed can all add up and have a positive impact on your monthly bill. And so before I jump into our prescriptive incentives here, I just wanted to bring up a copy of a report. So hopefully you can all see this. So if you've been through our program, you may be familiar with this report. If not, this is basically what you'll receive for signing up for the Light the Way program and having an energy assessment performed at your congregation. So I'm just going to kind of scroll through it real quick. Again, this is just an example. It is based off an actual customer. Their information has been edited out. So just so you're aware of that. But this page right here, just an overview. So this is actually a summary of what's below, and it breaks down the actual consumer's energy contributions or incentives, that would apply for the upgrades listed below, the approximate customer investment for the upgrades below, and then it also kind of shows you the 5-year savings here, so approximate savings, just if you were to do those upgrades. And then this page right here just kind of, again, shows you some basic energy use statistics for house worship building. This right here focuses on the electrical side and just breaks it down into different categories here for the percentages. You can kind of see them on the screen. Then the same thing below here for the natural gas side. And then this is actually kind of the focus part. Okay, so this is the recommendation area. And this report, again, it kind of focuses on a little bit of lighting and then also some heating and cooling stuff here. So, some exterior lighting here, and you can kind of see all of these pretty much have less than a 3-year payback, for the upgrade. So, I mean, it may really make sense to do the upgrade. But I mean, this one, so the exterior lighting and the boiler tune-up, I would say are 2 examples of, where you'd probably want to use a contractor to assist with the upgrade. And then if you get down here, this is more of an optional area. So interior lighting, I know a lot of congregations tend to try to do a self-installation if possible, just to cut down, on the cost that they have invested in it. So that's an option that you can have. So you can do the work yourself or you can have a contractor do it. But anyways, just wanted to focus on this stuff. And I'll go ahead and jump back to the slide here. And so again, this is our prescriptive incentives that are going to apply to those recommendations in the report. And so just so you can see on the screen here, we cover up to 100% of the project cost through the incentive program. And again, you have the option to work with your contractor or one of our approved ones, or you can do the work yourself. Also, qualified equipment must be installed at facilities served by Consumers Energy. Projects must result in an improvement in energy efficiency. Each site must have one eligible rate code. The upgrades must have a permanent reduction in kilowatt hour savings or MCF gas savings. The installed measures must remain in place for 5 years or the life of the product, whichever is less. The business energy efficiency programs also reserve the rights to inspect the site for a period of 3 years following the incentive payment. So we really just want to make sure that the equipment stays installed. So, and all these outlines requirements are also listed in our program catalog, which we'll get to as well. COVID-19 HVAC safety upgrades. So we do offer, rebates and incentives for applicable measures that might play along with, some of the COVID-19 safety requirements. So those include things like high performance filters, both HEPA and non-HEPA, airflow management, rooftop heating units, and then also boilers and furnace tune-ups. I know in the report you kind of seen the one listing there to do the recommended, furnace tune-up. So that also goes with this. And then this screen right here, so this is actually navigating how you'd actually go about finding our application to go onto our website. And so up at the top here, if you can see my screen, consumersenergy.com/business/energy efficiency. So if you punch that in, you're going to go to our homepage, and it's basically going to look like this. You're going to have your 4 tabs at the top. The business one is the one we want to focus on, so you're going to click on that. And that's going to take you to this page, a little blue drop down, and you're going to click on energy efficiency. And then from there, you're going to see this screen below. And this is actually where you're going to go ahead and find the application. We do now have an online application and also our traditional PDF application, which you can still use. So it's an either or process, and we'll kind of walk through some of the basic steps for both. And then also our catalog. So again, that's what you're going to want to reference for actual project requirements to find out, if you have eligible equipment, and then also what kind of new requirements we have, for the new measures you're proposing to put in. And so right here, if you were to click on that last button for the View PDF application, this is what you're going to see. So this is our 2021 incentive application. This is the PDF catalog, or application, sorry. And so this is the cover page. And then we kind of want to focus right here. So page 4 is basically the instruction sheet that you're going to want to follow to go ahead and actually apply for those rebates. And I have circled here below where you can see that. And there's basically just 4 steps involved. And we can go ahead and just walk right through those real quick. So step number 1, you're going to want to complete the applicant information page, which is page 6. And if it's helpful, I will actually go ahead and just pull that up on the screen. So this is the actual application right here. And then this is that page that I was just referencing in that slide. So the 4 steps. So step again, number 1, fill out the applicant information, page 6. So it's just this sheet right here. And what you're going to need is your utility account number, and then also your tax ID number, or W-9. And so you will need those 2 pieces of information. We do also ask that when you submit this, that if possible, you can include a copy of your W-9 or your tax ID number, just so we can make sure everything matches up on there. And then back to those instructions. So step number 2, you're just going to basically write up a written description of your project. Basically just list out if you have fluorescent lighting, as an example, just throw out like how many fixtures you have, what style light that it is, if it's a T12 or a T8, and then how many lamps are in each fixture. So that would be part of the existing description. And then also then going into what the new equipment would be. So whatever new equipment you're proposing, you're just going to list that out. You know, maybe you're going to like, I don't know, maybe a 50-watt LED or something like that. So you want to list that in the description. And then also the specifications for the new equipment. That plays right into step number 3 here. So just include the spec sheet for the new equipment. You should be able to download that from a manufacturer's website, or if you're working with like a local vendor distributor, they should be able to supply that for you as well. So you'll need to submit that. And then lastly, just the actual worksheet that is going to be for the upgrade. And just as an example, we're just going to touch on the lighting stuff here real quick. So this page right here, pages 9 and 10, is basically going to be your lighting area.
Hey, Mike,
Page
I'm sorry to
more,
interrupt. The
Yep.
the text is like really small. Can you make it bigger at all?
Sure. Is that a little bit better?
If you could make it one more bump bigger, that would be perfect. There we go. Thank you.
All right. Yeah. Perfect. Yeah, you're welcome. And yeah, so this page again is going to be more of a retrofit application. So let's say you want to keep your fixtures and you just want to put some LED tubes to replace the fluorescent ones. This is going to be the worksheet you're filling out. Now we do have these different sections here. And so each one is going to align with the new LED tube style. And we actually down here, we have some little notes that break down those different types. But anyways, as an example, you know, you're going to find your lights. So let's see, we listed the T12s. So this is our 4-foot T12. And all you're going to do on this is just list the number of lamps that you got, you know, that you're putting back in. So as an example, we'll just type in 30. And it's interactive. So you can see right here, it calculates that rebate amount automatically for us. It also drops it down to our subtotal for that page. The other thing to note on this, you would need your new LED model number. So we do ask for that. So you're just going to click on that and whatever model number it is. Again, on the spec sheet from the manufacturer, just punch that in there. And then also you can kind of see whatever you punch in there actually automatically feeds back into the final application page. You won't need this right now, but just to show you as an example. So that's more the retrofit page here. And then moving on, so this would actually be, so this is like, if you want to replace the whole fixture, you'd probably lean more towards this category. So our interior lighting or exterior lighting, we do the incentives on a watts reduced basis. And so you can see we have our little measure codes over here. And so what you do for this is you just pick, and actually, I think I already have it selected, but you pick your measure code. And I picked the interior lighting, you know, low bay, less than 15 feet. I picked that down here, so LT205. But if you click on it, you can kind of see your different options there to pick it. And then you're just going to list out your number of fixtures. Number of lamps per fixture, we're going to go ahead and say 4. And then your total wattage for that fixture. And then the same thing for the new fixtures. Now the new fixture could have more lamps or less rather. So it might not even have lamps. It might be more of like a strip LED, something like that integrated into the fixture. But if you want to do a fixture for fixture replacement, just put in 30 there. And then watts per fixture, we're going to go ahead and guess, you know, maybe like a 60-watt fixture, something like that. And you can see it did all the math automatically for us, added everything up. And again, it takes that total, drops it down to our subtotal. And then both of these amounts get added up automatically back on that final application page. So you can see right here, this is the total summary of all the lighting that we just entered.
And so the total incentive is like the total discount or like money you're going to get back. Is that right?
Correct. Yep. So that's the actual money that you get back from us, Consumers Energy, for that rebate amount, for doing those upgrades. And I know I'm not focusing too much on this page right here, the final application page, but if we go back and even our slide deck, this page is listed on there. So this is kind of just those instructions for the final application portion. And it also displays, basically the roadmap for participating. So it gives you a little timeline estimation for what's involved, how much time you have to do the work, submit the final application, and then how long, it'll take for us to actually get you that check. So we'll send you a check, we'll mail it out to you, and again, typically made within 6 to 8 weeks, you get that check. So after the completion, everything is sent in. And so this is the other option, that online application version. So I put this on here, hopefully you can all see it somewhat, but so if you go back, where we had those two options, view online or view PDF. So this would be the online approach. And so basically you'd click the online application. Now, if you've already created a username and password, you could go ahead and log in and you would see this screen right here. If not, you're going to go ahead and create an account, and then you'd see this page right here. So I went ahead and just plugged in my information to use it as an example. So you're just going to need, your name, first and last name, and then the company name or the congregation's name that you want to put on there. Phone number, email address, confirm it. And I used my email address as the actual username. So that's totally an option. And then just set a password meeting the minimum requirements here. So once you do that, you just go ahead and click create account, and it's going to send you a verification email to the email address that you listed here. So you go ahead and click on that, and it'll take you back to log in with your credentials. And once you do that, then you're going to see this screen. So this is where you'd actually go ahead and start that application. So this could be a little bit easier approach. It kind of walks you through the steps a little bit slower. So, just some different options here. If you'd rather go the online route, or if you'd rather do the PDF version where you have everything right in front of you, it's an either or, you just whatever works best for you. So, just consider that, I guess. The other option that you do have doing the online version is it does save everything for you. So if maybe you started it and you didn't finish it, you could go ahead and close it out, come back in the next day, open it up, and you're going to click on My Applications, and it's going to take you right back into it. And so again, that's just kind of touching on the process to do the application. Again, if you want to do it yourself or that sort of thing. The other option that we do offer is our Trade Ally program. So again, working with an approved contractor, they'd be able to give you a detailed proposal. And then any agreed upon products are installed at your business. That proposal, again, also kind of breaks down and shows you the total, estimated rebate, the total cost that you're going to have invested in it, and then also the estimated annual savings typically. So you kind of have a good overview of all that. So that could be a good option, to kind of streamline the process in the event that you don't have time or you don't want to spend it during doing the actual application. So, and you can see right here, if you do want to find an approved contractor, you can go to our website, consumersenergy.com/find a contractor. And then, so this is our business instant discount program. This is another option. You can kind of use it together with the application. You can use all of these, independently of each other. So you don't have to use like this one or that one, and that's the only option you have. So like our instant discount program. So basically you can see you're buying energy saving products from a participating distributor with an instant discount. And so what that means is that you would just go to a participating vendor distributor and you'd purchase your lighting, or you'd purchase your furnace, and also food service equipment is eligible through this too. And it gets the incentive at point of sale. So you don't even mess with any paperwork. It's all done on the distributor side, but you're still getting that rebate. And actually right now, I know like for lighting, if you wanted to do LED tube lights as a retrofit, the rebate's actually a little bit more to go through the instant discount program. So it's 50 cents more, so like the basic rebate we were doing on the T12s there was $5. So on this side, it's $5.50. So this could be a good option to look at too. And then the other benefit of this is that if you have something that just breaks or you just want to go out and buy it, you can do that. You still get the rebate. So you don't have to worry about the paperwork side of it. And then also too, if you want to go ahead and actually find a list of our participating vendors, distributors, and also a full list of all the products that go through this program, please go on our website here. It's listed right out, consumersenergy.com/instant discount. Energy assessments and direct installation. So these are both items that you'd get for signing up for the Light the Way program. So typically we do the energy assessment, and we also do now try to do the direct installation at the same time if possible. Obviously, if you have available measures that we can put in for you and time allows for it. So you can see we install free products on the spot up to $500 in products. That's just a rough estimate. It could be less, it could be more based on what you actually have in your facility. And so you can see right here, you can actually schedule and sign up through the Light the Way program for this. Our online marketplace. So this is kind of another option to get some of the measures, that we also offer on the direct install side. So maybe as an example, we did the direct install, but your ceilings were too high. We couldn't reach the lights for screw-in lights and things like that. So you could also go to our marketplace and purchase those lights. And again, we sell them at a discount. So you just go right on there, everything ships for free. The measures also, they're going to include things like your LED screw-ins. We sell the linear LED tubes on there, aerators, occupancy sensors, smart thermostats, pipe wrap, and then also the smart power strips. And you can see right here, there's also a 25% off your first order discount code if you'd like to take advantage of that. The My Business Rewards. So this is actually something else that you can set up, kind of track your projects over time. I know just for signing up and doing the energy assessment and direct install, I believe you're eligible just to get a gift card for it. And the gift cards vary in the amounts and who they're from and stuff like that. There's things on there for like Amazon or the Home Depot or even just like a Visa gift card. So I would encourage you to go on here, again, review tips to lower your monthly energy bill and just track your usage and your projects that you've done. So it's kind of a nice tool to have. And that concludes the presentation. So obviously you can reach out to me with questions that you might have, going through the application process or any of the other slides that we touched on, as well as you can reach out to Michigan Interfaith Power and Light and through the Light the Way program. So thank you.
Thanks so much, Mike. And with that, we will open it up for questions. And as I said before, you can type your question into the chat if you like, or you are welcome to unmute yourself and just ask verbally. Dale?
Yeah, I would have a question, Mike. We have this University Lutheran Church in East Lansing. You actually got us started on this maybe 6 years ago when you came to the church and gave us some information. So we have converted all of our fluorescent tubes to LED. The challenge we have is in the sanctuary, it's a sloped ceiling from about maybe 20 feet up to 35 feet. And there are kind of can sleeves there with 500 watt, I think you'd call them HID bulbs. Looks like a pencil diameter, about 4 inches long, that go in there. And those cans have angles from 25 to 35 degrees. So the amount of light at the floor level is constant. I have talked to some retail lighting people, and they aren't able to give any guidance on if it's possible to convert this to LED. Do you have suggestions of who might I contact that would have some fairly significant expertise in lighting to take a look at this?
So I typically try to avoid, recommending any specific contractors or anything like that. Now the contractors or people that you reached out to, were they like within our network of trade allies, or were those just someone independently that you sought out?
Well, they weren't contractors, they were like lighting companies that supplied different LED lighting, mostly obviously the tubes.
So Dale, they were like
Okay.
like specialty lighting retailers kind of a thing? Is
Yes,
that right?
correct.
I see.
So I don't know if a contractor would have more expertise. It would have to be someone with pretty significant lighting expertise.
Yeah, I mean, I guess I'm surprised so like it sounds like maybe you communicated with people that might be like a vendor distributor, like lighting supply places, that sort of thing. Is that who it was?
Correct.
And they didn't have any recommendations or options for that.
No.
I guess I'm surprised with that. So if they're saying that, again, it's kind of a shock to me. You might be able to reach out. I know some of the lighting manufacturers too work through our program. They're also listed as trade allies. I'm sure that they'd be able to come up with a tailored approach, or even make a light for you if it's like a specialty circumstance. So just as a suggestion, I think that'd be something to look at.
Okay. We'll keep looking.
I see that Jennifer also dropped the link in the chat to like finding a contractor, like one of the approved contractors through Consumers site. So I would also check that out.
Okay.
Yeah, and if you're stuck, I could try to at least send you a list of some of the companies that I know are manufacturers, and you can kind of, reach out to them. So I think they'd probably be able to assist you with that.
Okay. Thank you.
Yep.
Thanks, Dale. What other questions are out there? So one of the things that comes to my mind as other folks are formulating their questions, Mike, is, sometimes we get questions from congregations like, and they think, maybe I'll just go to one of the big box retailers with stuff, Home Depot or Lowe's or something. Can you talk about like, when does it make sense just to like buy retail, or when does it make sense to kind of go to a specialty lighting store? Any pointers?
Yeah,
about
sure. Yeah, so for the most part, Consumers Energy and other utilities do have programs where we work with your big box stores. However, most of the discounts that you're going to get are going to only apply to, again, like more of your residential style lighting. So screw-in lights and things of that nature. If you actually get into your bigger commercial, lighting, it's not going to be getting a rebate on it if you go to the big box store. So at least from a, instant discount program or big box store option, I'd probably lean more towards the instant discount side for the commercial sector anyways.
Thanks. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Great. I had another question too, which is, I think as you pointed out earlier, a lot of times congregations, right, they want to do as much as they can to like save money and be frugal. And so sometimes they think, well, that must mean we have to do it ourselves. And lighting is a great example where folks can really do a lot with some, moderately skilled kind of volunteers, or maybe retired engineer types or something like that. A lot of congregations are blessed with a retired engineer facilities manager. What would be examples of, incentives that consumers offers that are probably going to require a contractor, but that are nonetheless like they've got a relatively short payback where it really would make sense to work with a contractor?
Yeah, so typically probably like exterior lighting, obviously boilers, furnace upgrades, even tune-ups, things of that nature. You're going to want to use a professional for that. Those are some good examples, I think. If you get inside, and you're doing whole fixtures, it might be easier to have an electrician, someone outside do that work for you as well, as it can be a little bit more involved and labor intensive.
One of the things we didn't touch on in this at all was how to pay for this stuff. If folks are needing, some kind of financing, how do they do that?
Yeah, so we actually do partner with a company called Michigan Saves to help buy down the interest rate. So you can get, up to 0% interest rate for financing options for energy efficiency upgrades. So that is, pretty much the best approach that we offer from our program, to get financing there.
Great. Are there any other questions from the audience? Or maybe I'll throw a question out to the audience, which is, what types of projects are you all considering? Or is your question that you need help identifying what projects you want to take up?
We're in Diamond Hill. We know we've had some different furnaces and things replaced over the time. We have 3 different zones, and there's one that's probably overdue. So there's always the question, is there a certain timing we do that, or just the others that say, let it run out and die, and then we'll replace it, And of course, with all the different things we're doing, there's always what's the priority of dealing with things, the urgent versus the important.
Right.
We're looking at some outside lighting as well. I've tried to get them in looking at other areas from not only LEDs in many places. I know we did the assessment. We had many lights put in water aerators and did all that. Trying to empower, I guess, the lay people in the congregation to get more involved in this and doing more green stuff, and look at possibly solar in some areas as well. We have plenty of areas to do things like that, but we know right now we can do some things more with LED on the exterior lighting, I think, as well as the furnace. Those are probably the 2 things that are coming up. And I know that people don't usually want to change until there's enough pain. And I think the financial aspect probably gets them a little more eager to think about this and get involved. When we know we have a couple other projects, as well as maybe having to replace some TPO on some of our roofs that we have. So if I can save money on one project so we can get more stuff done, then the better off we are.
Absolutely. Yeah. So you mentioned exterior lighting. So we are aware that like rebates and incentives for exterior lighting projects are often particularly good, and they can cover up to 100% of the project. We have examples of congregations. Mike, did you have an example of a congregation that is that an example you brought with you to this evening? A congregation that did an exterior lighting project and got 100% incentive on it?
You know what, I'm sorry, I don't have an example with me right now.
Okay.
But I can tell you that there have been numerous customers who have been able to get their exterior lighting done for no cost. The key thing to note on that is that your exterior lights do need to run throughout the night, even just to be eligible through the program. So if they only run for a couple hours or something like that, they're typically not going to qualify anyways. I mean, especially not with our up to 100% covered, cost there.
That's a good thing to note. I also heard Pastor Crane, you say something else that I think is a really good, he didn't frame it as a question, but I think it makes a good question. So Mike, if I've got a building and it's got an old furnace system and I'm trying to make the decision, like, does it make sense to just let it live out its life and then replace it? Or does it make sense, like, is there enough? I mean, of course, it just depends on the furnace and the facility, I'm sure, in part, but like, what's the calculus there? How do you decide whether you just need to retire this piece of equipment and upgrade it to something more efficient now, or just wait until it fully dies?
Yeah, so again, I mean, it really does depend on the actual furnace, I guess the efficiency level of it, but, just knowing that over the life of the furnace, you are going to lose the, efficiency of the furnace over time. So for example, if you have like an 80%, efficient furnace, if it's 20 years old or something like that, there's a good chance that it's probably less than 70% efficient at this point. So not very efficient. And then, again, if it fails on you, what are you going to do? Well, a good option that we do have there is that instant discount program. So that could be something to look at. If it fails suddenly, you got to get it replaced, get the rebate right there at point of sale.
Great. All right, last call for questions, and then we've just got a couple more things we wanted to tell you about. All right, hearing none, I'm going to go back to sharing my screen. All right. Okay, so these are your next steps, folks. If you are contemplating doing any of these next steps projects yourself, right? You are gonna get hold of your energy assessment report that you received when you did the free program, right? You got an assessment and you possibly got some free upgrades as well. You're gonna check out those 3 next steps. Right, that Mike also showed you. And if you lost your assessment, you never saw your assessment, we can get you another copy of it, and you're going to contact Jennifer. Jennifer, do you want to say hello, introduce yourself, take it from here?
Yeah, absolutely. I'd love for people to contact me with any questions, concerns. Our goal is really to be a free resource for you to be able to identify and move forward with a project. So please give me a call. You can give me a call, send me an email, or just schedule yourself on my calendar. There's a link to do that.
Yeah, let's drop that link in the chat as well.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah. I will drop your Calendly link in the chat. You want to introduce? Oh, you've already got it. Perfect.
And next up, we're having a webinar. The next in our Energy Stewardship webinar series is featuring Victorious Believers Ministries out of Saginaw, Michigan. They have 3 phases of energy efficiency upgrade projects. The first was an exterior lighting project in the parking lot and also at the gymnasium. The second is due to be installed in a couple of weeks, which will be a replacement of the sanctuary lighting. And the third phase they have in the plans but not yet implemented is complete retrofit of the lighting in the office and administrative areas. So we will hear from Mr. Ellis Burns. He's been with Victorious Believers Ministries over 20 years and has been involved with all of those projects to learn from them about how they conceived of and implemented their projects. Thank you so much for being here tonight.
Thanks, everybody. Thanks so much to Mike. And as we've mentioned, you'll get these slides and the recording in by email. We'll follow up probably tomorrow.
Thank you.
Great. Thanks so much, everybody. Have a nice evening.